Well, hello, greetings, welcome. Thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. This is episode 200. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Started doing this 4.5 years ago when the pandemic started, and I was basically just trying to keep in touch with you guys and tell you what was going on in the store and show you what was coming out, keeping people informed. And look, here we are all this time later. It's crazy. I thank you so much for being supportive all of this time and allowing us to continue doing what we do and to stay open. I mean, it was such a blessing, the response that we got. And yeah, I know everybody went through a lot of tough times. So I really can't thank my supporters enough. So thank you. And that being said, this week I have some new releases. It's not a huge week, but it's a significant week. Last week was a very big week. We had the new Jack White album surprise release called No Name, sold out of all of our stock. We had a lot of it, and so it was great that we had as much as we did, even though our orders got cut like in half because they just had such demand for it. And I will go on record and say I think it's the best Jack White solo record so far, and up there with some of his best White Stripes records. They are reissuing it in a week or two. There's going to be like a regular edition of that. So if you missed it for some reason, there's going to be other versions of it out there. So that being said, something else that was supposed to come last week that we did not get, that just showed up this morning, and I'm so excited about this. And I know some people had it, but for some reason our shipping got messed up. Ween chocolate and cheese. This is their 30th anniversary deluxe edition 3 LP set. This is the black vinyl version, 1994 double album recut from the original master tapes by Bernie Grundman, with a third LP of bonus material, 15 previously unreleased demos curated by Dean and Gene Ween. So this probably maybe their biggest selling album, I would say, and definitely like if it's not the most famous, it's the one that really got people interested in them in a big way. Features Voodoo Lady, Freedom of 76, Roses Are Free, and many, many more. And don't forget Mr. Won't You Please Help My Pony. Would you please help? What a great, weird song that is. So, anyway, so Ween, chocolate and cheese in the house. Okay, and those are very limited. I think they're going to go fast. I don't think that it's a limited pressing per se, so there may be more in the pipeline somewhere, but we have what we have for right now, fortunately. All right, a big release this week on a box set, The Grateful Dead. This is Dick's Picks Volume 12. This is a 6 record set, remastered for vinyl by Jeffrey Norman from the original tapes, featuring a peerless China Cat Sunflower and a revered Weather Report Sweet Jam. Lacquers cut by Clint Hawley and Dave Polster at Well Made Music, hand numbered edition, limited to 3,000 copies. 6 records. This is over $200, people. So, you got to be a serious Dead fan, I think, to want this, but most Dead fans are serious Dead fans. But yeah, this is number 2859 of 3,000, so it's kind of a high number. I have a feeling that they're pretty much mostly sold out at the warehouses already. But just so you know, there's a Grateful Dead. Another set that's interesting this week, the Jefferson Airplane live at Woodstock, 1969, August 17th, 55th anniversary edition. It's actually 55 years ago next week. The complete set on iridescent clouds breaking blue vinyl. This is limited to only 1,000 copies. Not very many. I guess they figure that most Jefferson Airplane fans are getting too old to want to buy vinyl, or whether they're only going to make 1,000 of these. Anyway, this is an era that they were super popular band across the country, and so it's cool seeing that. I mean, we've had other what they put out, the Creedence Clearwater full Woodstock set. They did. They're doing 10 years after very soon, so it's kind of nice to see those. Hendrix get there. Is it Hendrix? Is Hendrix a Woodstock? I don't know. Hendrix has so many live sets. It's hard to remember. But yeah, so I think it's cool though that they're doing like full live sets of these artists that are sort of, it's almost like, did they wait a little too long in some cases? I know that they put them out on CD a while ago, but it's neat seeing them on vinyl. Okay, new records this week. Yeah, I mean, I do make mistakes, right? I noticed last week I got kind of tripped up on a couple of Blue Notes where I said, I think Lee Morgan's Taru and Bobby Hutcherson's Medina, I said came out in 1980. They actually came out in 68 and 69, but there were different dates on the back. So here, I'm willing to say I make mistakes too, and wish our politicians would do that. Okay. That's as far as I'm going there. Hey, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, new album, Flight B741. This is their first record of this year. I think they've promised 5, so the others better start coming soon. But this kind of came out of nowhere, surprise release. This is the official cover. If you sort of pull this out the top, that's the one that you'll see online, which is a bunch of pigs flying a plane. Well, I don't know if they're flying a plane. They're just sort of on what kind of looks like an old-time plane. And the band members on the back. There's a song called Hog Calling Contest. But I heard some of this. It sounds very much like sort of T-Rex meets Cheap Trick in the 70s. It's very power pop with kind of a groovy boogie sort of rockin', like, borderline AC/DC kind of, or that sort of sound. But anyway, it's very like catchy, and the songs are shorter in general, so they're not the super long, expansive, like, hey, we're doing a 20-minute track or something like that. So I think the last song's maybe like 8 minutes. So another band that's sort of in that genre of doing multiple albums, the OCs, and this is their new album, Sorks 80. I don't know where that title came from, but SORCS 80 is the title. This is the indie color version of the vinyl. I think it's like a tricolor where it's sort of split and there's like red and green or something on different sides. But there's also like there's a couple different color versions of this. But anyway, they and King Gizzard are sort of seen as like two of the top sort of I don't know, psychedelic type pop bands, rock bands, very rock too. So all right, so new King Gizzard and new OCs and new Amos Lee, Philadelphia's own, and there's a good picture of him there. This actually, he was on CBS Saturday last week and did a couple of songs from this, and he sounded great. And he's been doing this for a while. I think this is his 11th album. Emotionally powerful, says NPR Music, and translucent sea blue vinyl, which seems to be the color of the year to put vinyl on, since that's what Rhino was doing with all of their records. But great singer-songwriter, and what an asset to Philly. And so I guess he sort of got to start playing and like hanging around his dad's bar and stuff. And now he sells out arenas, so good for him. Another new record this week from Biba Doobie. She's a young artist who appeals to the sort of Taylor Swifty generation. But yeah, so a lot of people have been waiting for this. I should say maybe the Olivia Rodrigo generation. But Biba Doobie. If I say it 3 times, will she appear just like Beetlejuice? Biba Doobie. Practice it, y'all. Anyway, her name is Beatrice, I think, but she goes by that. So anyway, this is also a limited edition on light blue vinyl. Not quite sea blue, but light blue. Well, you're still in the blue family. So, all right. Some great new reissues this week: Smashing Pumpkins, Rotten Apples. So this is like a greatest hits album from 2001, and it's about time they put this out. It's actually, buying this is a little cheaper than buying Siamese Dream even. This has Shiva, Rhinoceros, Drown, Cherub Rock, Today, Disarm, Landslide, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, 1979, Zero, Tonight, I, Ava Adore, Perfect, The Everlasting Gaze, Stand Inside Your Love, Real Love, and Untitled. So pretty much every early famous Smashing Pumpkins song is on that. So good value for the money, I think. Another one interesting, Elvis in Memphis, or Elvis Memphis. And these are highlights of Elvis's recordings throughout his years in Memphis, featuring newly mixed tracks and Grammy Award-winning producer Matt Ross Spang, pure and without overdubs. So this covers a long period of time, 1954 to 1976. And it's different appearances throughout his career, whether he was at American Sound, Stax Studio, Mid-South Coliseum, or at home at Graceland. Some of the last tracks on here are Danny Boy, Moody Blue, and How Great Thou Art. But he also does on here Suspicious Minds, Any Day Now, In the Ghetto, things that he sang, A Mystery Train, when he was in Memphis. So I think this is kind of a fascinating release, and hopefully it does well. The Elvis curators usually have done, I would say, a pretty good job with his career. A couple of Rush related reissues this week: Geddy Lee and his solo record, My Favorite Headache. This has been reissued before, but this time it's on blue and green vinyl. It says 2 LP, includes 2 bonus tracks, My Favorite Headache and Home on the Strange, both instrumental versions. So there's that. Many people have that record already. One they might not have as much, obviously, is Alex Lifeson, another member of Rush, and this is his solo record from 1996, newly remixed and on vinyl for the first time. Includes 4 bonus tracks on crystal clear vinyl. Say that 4 times fast. Crystal clear vinyl, crystal clear vinyl. Anyway, he's got a song called Strip and Go Naked. Well, there you go. Alex Lifeson right there in a nutshell. I don't know. Probably not. Let's see. Hey, Blue Note. Still doing this series. They're doing 10 records pressed on blue vinyl. 10 classics. I'm telling you right now, not only do these sound good, but one day these are going to be super collectible, because nothing like Blue Note on blue vinyl. I don't think it's sea blue. It's the Blue Note color, whatever that is, but more blue. This is Wayne Shorter, Speak No Evil, one of their biggest sellers and one of Blue Note's best albums. And the other one this week, Art Blakey's Moanin'. So many of you might have these already. Maybe you love the album so much that you want a copy on blue vinyl. I don't know. But they're available for a limited time only at indie stores. They've already done 2. Can't remember what they are. You can look it up or ask me when you're in the store. I'll show you. But yeah, so if you're into jazz, great. If you're not into jazz, those are good gateway kind of albums, and especially for classics. And it's cool having them on blue vinyl. So this week we have a couple of Verve by request. These are the ones that are pressed at Third Man, and I gotta say, last week Jack White just flew out of here, and so we had a lot of them, and they sold really well, and so Third Man, really upped their game. I think when this series started, they got a little criticized for maybe the quality. I don't know. I've heard that it's gotten better, but anyway, that being said, I think a lot of people will be looking for this album when they see the cover. It usually sells very well. Pharoah Sanders, Tembi is, I think, the way you say that. I don't think it's Themby, but maybe it is. So this is manufactured in Detroit at Third Man. This is one of his really cool sort of experimental but still accessible kind of records. Astral Traveling, also featured on this Lonnie Liston Smith, Roy Haynes, and another set of interests. These were all pressed on Impulse, I believe, Impulse originally. So yeah, that's a classic. Another one this week, which looks interesting in that same sort of label, but different vibe. Elvin Jones and Richard Davis, Heavy Sounds, and not quite as psychedelic as the other. It's more sort of like, sort of more of an energetic traditional jazz, but produced by Bob Thiele. It doesn't say who else is on this, so, but it's got Raunchy Rita as one of the songs, and it also is on Impulse originally. So those are your two Verve by Request this week. Contemporary sounds, contemporary recordings, records, acoustic sounds. So these were pressed by the same people who do the Verve Acoustic Sound series, and these were mastered by Bernie Grunman, who did the originals, so he's doing them again. This features it's Howard McGee, Maggie's Back in Town. This is West Coast jazz, I believe, and I think all of these are. And it features Phineas Newborn Jr., Leroy Vinegar, and Shelly Manne, people who ended up on a lot of those classic records there on the contemporary label. These are really nice packages. They're very like thick, durable tip-on covers, so they feel substantial and they're not going to fall apart. And then another label that got into the reissue game a little bit, ECM, and their Luminescence series. This is Pat Metheny and his album Bright Size Life, which I think is not easy to get or find necessarily. This is cut from the original masters, newly designed packaging with the original artwork. This is a gatefold. I don't know if the original was. This was recorded December 1975. Starts with Gary Burton talking about meeting Pat a few years earlier in Wichita, Kansas. But Pat, what a great guitarist, jazz guitarist. This also features Jaco Pastorius on bass. So Jaco, 1975, let's see, this year would have been about the same time that Joni Mitchell's Hajira came out. Jaco played on that, all over that album. So if you like that sound, I think this is probably sort of kind of up your alley. Bob Moses is on drums, so it's just a trio. Pat's playing 6-string and 12-string, 12-string electric. So cool. Okay. Yeah, this band I feel is very underrated as an 80s band for some reason. I think they're kind of thought of in America as a one-hit wonder when they really had like 2 or 3 top 50, 40 hits, and then they kept going and having hits everywhere else in the world except here. But they, they have a lot of good songs. Aha, and this is their album Time and Again, The Ultimate. So we saw a lot of Aha's, the album with Take On Me, Hunting High and Low, the first album, but this is actually like a greatest hits. So if you're unfamiliar with other songs that came out from Aha after Take On Me, this is a good double album that kind of addresses that. It does feature a lot of stuff from the first few albums. Features The Living Daylights, the song that they wrote and released for the James Bond movie of the same name. It has some of the single mixes of things, and then they kind of took a long hiatus and came back in the 2000s, and so it has some songs from that too, like Summer Moved On, Lifelines, Salice, Foot of the Mountain. Really, really great kind of comeback songs that not a lot of Americans heard. They kind of turned up in a lot of TV shows and movies, but people probably didn't know. They were probably like, oh, that sounds like an old Aha song, and I was like, no, those are actually new songs. But they're kind of on like a hiatus type thing again. I don't know. I think there might be. This says two LPs, features bonus tracks. This is Our Home and I'm In. I don't know if that means that they're new songs or what, but I kind of felt like they were sort of kind of like retiring in a way. But anyway, another one of my favorite albums of the 90s, and I'm really glad to see this on vinyl. And it's unfortunate because the guy who is in charge of this label that did all this work has decided to call it quits because he's so frustrated by companies like Universal and their policies in allowing him to license records. He recently paid to license out a Split Ends album he was going to redo, and someone in the band, like from way back, said no, we don't want that, and he ended up losing a lot of money, time, and effort on it. He's like, it's so frustrating, but I'm glad he got this one out. I wish he'd do more of her. Suzanne Vega, 99.9 Fahrenheit degrees. This was a 94 album of hers, I believe, 92, and hadn't been on vinyl for decades. Very hard to find in the U.S. And this is sort of an alternative hit album. I mean, she was someone who got so popular from like Luca and what was the other big hit? Oh, Tom's Diner, that they remixed and made it sort of a dance track. Well, this album, she kind of had met Mitchell Froome, who they became a married couple for a while. He's now a member of Crowded House, but he was a kind of a very sought after producer for a while. Worked with people like Soul Coughing too. He gave Elvis Costello to kind of a grittier sound. But anyway, this album he worked on a lot, and this is a special gatefold cover, 500 copies on yellow vinyl, so they didn't make many. But features Blood Makes Noise, 99.9 Fahrenheit degrees, When Heroes Go Down, and In Liverpool, among other songs. And if you're into like 90s female like Suzanne and Amy Mann and people like that, Sam Phillips, I highly recommend that album. Would probably be my recommends for the day, but since it's a new release, it's just part of the video. Justin Townes Earl, another person that deserves a lot more attention, and rest in peace, Justin. What a tortured life. And well, interesting relationship with his father, Steve, but all in unreleased and rarities, the New West years. This is features a wealth of unreleased demos, bonus tracks, live cuts, and select rarities. Standard edition 2 LPs in black vinyl. So it's a Justin Townes Earl. There's a bunch of unreleased tracks from Saint of Lost Causes, and then some Sirius XM things he did on his dad's show. But anyway, he passed away maybe 2-3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. It was definitely in the last 5. So another person who's since left us, but an interesting thing, Dickie Betts. And this is pressed on marijuana green splatter vinyl. This is live from the Lone Star Roadhouse, New York City, 1988. So a little late, but features performances by Warren Haynes, Rick Derringer, Jack Bruce, and Mick Taylor. So this could be of interest to people. And I think there's a CD for this. Oh yeah. There's a CD, and the CD actually has, I think, 8 more songs. CD has 17 songs, vinyl has like 9. So they chose to kind of like shorten it on vinyl just so it wasn't as expensive. They should have just done the whole thing and charged more, from what I would say. And then Godsmack Faceless, this is 4th album from them. So another in the reissue of Godsmack reissues that have been coming out. And then I think that's really all I've got as far. Oh wait, CDs. Oh yeah, and I'm expecting the vinyl on this too. Little Big Towns Greatest Hits. We have the CD right now, And expecting the vinyl on this too. Milton Nascimento and Esperanza Spalding. The album Milton and Esperanza, they did this together. I think she basically got him out of retirement to do this. But yeah, 16 tracks. That looks interesting. I love Esperanza. And Todd Rundgren and another live record, Healing Live. So it's from that tour, 2010. So, and I think there may be vinyl of that available too. As for my recommends this week, I'm going to keep this brief because I'm running short on time to get the store open. But my recommend today, Sugar Cubes, Life's Too Good. 1988 worldwide debut for this band. What can I say about the Sugar Cubes except it introduced us to the iconic persona and artist that is Bjork. And it featured her and Einar Orn on lead vocals. They were sort of like the equivalent of Icelandic B-52s. Very catchy, fun, had sort of a dark undertone that was a little bit more alternative rock, like the late 80s. But, this album really introduced Bjork in a big way. And then Sugar Cubes went on and made 2 more albums, studio albums, went on tour for a few years. I saw them open for U2 on the Zoo TV tour, I believe, in like 91, around that era. Bjork was with her kind of pigtails on her head and big combat boots, and you just didn't forget her at all. And Einar, some people were like, he's an acquired taste. He's kind of like not really a singer. He's more of a shouter hype man. Some people found him annoying, but it's fun stuff. And it was this is like early kind of Bjork, before she became more of the artiste, which I do love many of her albums too. But so this starts with the song Traitor, which is mainly an Einar based song. He kind of is like talking quite a bit and she's kind of in the background. But the songs that really get going here, track 2, Motor Crash, which is sort of kind of a duet between them, but Bjork is really kind of describing the scene through singing about what's happening with this bicycle and car crash. And then Einar's kind of like throwing in his little like bits too, but that's kind of a fun alternative rock song. Birthday was their big breakthrough hit that got played a lot on MTV. Very catchy, kind of slower, moody parts of the song, and then it sort of just, Bjork's voice just sort of explodes. Delicious Demon is fun. Mama is a kind of a sinister song. Even people like Annie Lennox covered that song on like a B-side from her Medusa album. But that's kind of like a kind of got a creepy vibe, even though it's very heartfelt about mothering and motherhood too. It's dark, but like I love my mom, but there's something wrong with her. And then flip it over and you get Cold Sweat, which is kind of, again, a very like dark song, very 80s alternative rock. Bjork's voice just cuts through that. Blue Eyed Pop, Deus are fun. Deus is more of a Bjork solo kind of, mainly singing about God, does he exist or whatever. Sick for Toys, and Effing in Rhythm and Sorrow. So I think side 2 is a little more just kind of like fun and like either like they go into different territories or they're almost like throwaways, although Cold Sweat is a really great song. But side A is incredible. And I think that they don't get talked about much anymore because people are so focused on Bjork that they forget sort of where she came from and how great this band was. And the band itself is really great. If you like things like The Cure or like late sort of 80s alternative rock, the Pixies, stuff like that, you got to check out the Sugar Cubes without a doubt, especially this album. Their other 2 are very good, but this one is the bomb, as it were. So, all right. Hey, thanks everyone for joining me. Look, I kept this one about 30 minutes instead, under some time pressure. Aren't you lucky? So, hey, happy 200th video to us, I say, and I appreciate again all of the love and support that we've gotten over the past few years. I hope it continues for as long as possible. There have been many times I thought I just need to, throw in the towel and call it a day, and then I get a lot of support. So I really appreciate it. And enjoy your day, enjoy your weekend, and summer. It's been kind of like ups and downs. We're getting a little bit of a remnants of a hurricane here, but it's not supposed to be more than just a lot of rain, hopefully, here. So, all right, be well, and sorry, kids, it's back to school soon. Take care. Peace.